Welcome, everyone, to Locks of Lore. My name is Benny.
And I'm Tash.
This is Locks of Lore, where two hairstylists get real about the life behind the chair.
We are talking client drama, money talks, industry tea, and everything you'd normally only hear in the back room.
Whether you're a stylist or just love the beauty world, welcome to the group chat.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Hi, it is us.
Happy
your
Monday.
Hair besties.
Yes, we're here. We are your hair besties, and you are our hair besties. And we are excited to be here today for a new episode of Locks of Lore.
Tell me about your week. It looks like you have another injury to tell us about.
Every week I have a new injury. I was just
That's what the whole podcast is going to be.
I pushed myself too hard this week. So I'm over my hangover from last week, but now this week, we were setting up a trampoline for our kids in the backyard, and I strained my shoulder trying to hook the springs up. Now I have a magic bag on my shoulder for this episode. So for this episode,
is the trampoline up?
Yeah, but the trampoline's up. Kids are happy. It's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah. Fuck your back.
Yeah, exactly. I pushed myself too hard. I can barely turn my neck. So
Did you go on the trampoline afterwards?
No, Benny. I don't go on the trampoline. I'm a mother. I will pee my pants if I go on the trampoline.
Well, also with your track history, you'll probably like break your arm or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm and I can't work when I'm broken, so I've got to just chill myself out a little bit.
No, and you already have to take off so much time from first strep throat, then you were hungover, and now this? Like, whoa.
Exactly. Hopefully this, you know how they say things come in threes. Hopefully this is it for me for a while, because it's not easy.
Hopefully it's not multiples of 3. That would be
Oh my gosh. It's not. I'm sure all of you hairstylists out there can relate. It's not fun having an injury or even just being sore when you're working, because our bodies take a huge toll, don't they?
Honestly, one of the first things I did when I decided to get back into working in the salon full-time at the time was I got my own private benefits so that I can guarantee that I go for massages, I get orthopedics for my shoes, I will go for acupuncture. I don't want my body to ever have to worry about pain. So that was the first thing I said. If I'm going to get back into work, I need to make sure my body is not hurting. So massages and all of that stuff. So
I've
important.
been doing monthly massages, but I feel like I need to get back into like chiro, and also just, I don't know, my cousin has a Pilates studio and I feel like I should probably start doing Pilates, but I say that, but will I actually do it? Probably not. But even just the
Yeah, you
little things
might.
like stretching before work and stuff like that, I feel like really could make a difference for me, you know?
Do you, or have you tried yoga at all?
I have, I have off and on over the years. I did it when I was pregnant, which
Yeah.
was really nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that helped, but that was a long time ago now.
Like, tits deep in my yoga journey. I go at least 3 or
Yeah.
4 times a week to hot yoga. I swear, I think it has really helped my body not be in pain anymore, because I would always
Yeah.
have, from either horseback riding or lifting weights, I would always have some part of my body that was in some sort of stress, and since going to yoga regularly, and it's hot yoga too. So since going to hot yoga
Mhm.
regularly, I've really noticed that my muscles just aren't as tense. I don't feel so tight. I'm
That's
almost never
amazing.
sore because I just go to yoga afterwards and I just stretch it out and the heat just
I really wish
kicks
we
in.
lived in the same city so that we could go to yoga together. I feel like you would hold me
I
accountable for
know.
showing up at yoga.
I
Yeah,
would
that would
legit
be so nice.
pick you up at your house and be like, "Drive the fucking
Yeah.
car! We're going right now!"
Damn it! We live too far apart.
We'll make
It's
it
not
happen. We'll
easy.
make it happen.
Okay.
We'll make it happen. Okay.
So what's in the news this week, Benny?
Ooh,
Have you looked
Tash,
into the
I've got
news?
a
What
good
is
one.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got a good one. It's the season for acquiring companies. Guess
Oh,
who
no.
L'Oreal just acquired? At least it's not Henkel this time. But guess who L'Oreal just acquired?
Who?
Color Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Color Wow has just been acquired and is now in the L'Oreal portfolio.
Okay. How do we feel about this?
I'm sure a lot of people are gonna have a lot of feelings about it because I think one of 2 things either happens when a large company such as L'Oreal purchases another company. Either the quality of the products gets much better
Yeah.
or it gets much
The
worse.
opposite. Yeah.
Right? So either they,
Yeah.
like, invest a lot into it and they get more innovation and the products are great, or they really streamline it with what they're already making and it just tanks. And personally, in what I've experienced with L'Oreal, it is usually the latter of the 2, but that's not
Uh-huh.
the exclusive. Like, I'm thinking of, oh my god, what am I even thinking of? Who else has been purchased by L'Oreal?
Uh, Pulp Riot, uh, right?
Mm.
That was a drama.
That was a huge drama.
That was a huge drama all in itself. And I don't know, I can't really say I don't use Pulp Riot, but I know that people spoke about how much that line changed after they were acquired.
Oh, yeah. For the better or not?
I don't know, I feel like for the not better, but again, I will say I have no personal experience, like, I've used it a few times, but I I don't know. Have you used Pulp Riot?
No, I've never used Pulp Riot before.
Yeah. I
I
don't
enjoyed it, like, I like their packaging.
Yeah, their packaging's cute. I don't mind the smell, although sometimes I find it gets a little overwhelming. It's so sweet smelling that it's sometimes, like, a little too much for me. But I don't know, I have heard things about the longevity and the spreadability and stuff like that, but at the same time, like I said, I have no personal, experience with it, so I can't say. It's just hearsay.
Nah, they own
Yeah,
okay, Kerastase, that was it. I remembered
right.
Kerastase used to be the best. You couldn't get any treatment better than Kerastase. It was so good, and now it's not that it's not good, it's just it doesn't slap the same way it used to. It used to be the end all be all, the best. They also own Pureology, they own Matrix, Redken, Biolage,
I Oh, and now
Pulp Riot,
Color Wow.
and also Color Wow, yeah. So they don't
Right,
have anything like Color Wow in their portfolio. No, Biolage and Pureology is just care. They don't have any
the
color. So
color
yeah, that
line.
would be kind of similar. But yeah, I would just imagine like what are they gonna do with that line? Are they gonna streamline it with some of the practices of Biolage and Kerastase? Who knows?
Who knows? And I'm curious then, will it stay in the same distributors or will it change distributors? Because I know, like, here,
Oh,
I think
great
that
question.
yeah, here I think that Modern carries Color Wow at the moment, but I don't
Yep.
know how many other, L'Oreal lines Modern carries, to be honest. I'm curious if it'll
From
stay
that
there, if
list,
it'll
nothing.
okay, well, then
They
there
don't
you go.
carry
So
anything else. Yeah.
I wonder if then, it'll be leaving. We'll have to see. We'll have to
Almost
have an update
certainly
on
will
that.
be leaving
Yeah.
because
Okay.
if nothing else that they carry is there, then I would imagine they're gonna just keep that under their umbrella.
It's some kind of deal that they have with specific distributors, right?
I can only imagine. I wonder
Yeah.
if they're still gonna keep Christopher Appleton as their mascot or their front runner.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's
Color
pretty
Wow.
like, why would you get rid of him unless you just can't afford him? He's the
I mean,
end
if
all be
L'Oreal can
all.
afford it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like every week we have a new, acquisition, a new
I
line being
know.
bought out by somebody else, which is it's interesting how often that really happens when you pay attention.
I do think that as we are technically going into a recession, that happens a lot in this time
Yeah.
because, bigger companies think, "Hey, this is when we buy, 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 buy." Everybody else is
This is the
doing
time. Yeah.
yeah, so
That makes sense.
expect
Yeah.
more acquisitions, and I guess the
Well,
the big ones are gonna own all of us soon.
uh-huh. They pretty much already do, so
I
yep.
know. It is hard to
When
find
you
the rogue lines
Yeah, like, when you really narrow it down, there's, like, literally 2 or 3, like, massive corporations that pretty much own every single hair brand in the universe, other than the
Yeah.
tiny, little, tiny indie ones that will most
Yeah.
likely eventually also be bought out by those
100%.
brands. They just keep sucking them all in, right? So
Yeah. That's so
it's pretty
crazy.
wild. Yeah, it's pretty wild when you actually look into it how, like, they're competing with their own brands, right? These massive corporations have all these competing brands. I mean, we've even experienced that working for Pravana. We're competing against our sister brands, even though we're all under
Yeah.
the same umbrella, which was why it was interesting, this last, training that you guys had where, like, for the first time, they put all of these same brands in the same room, which normally we don't see,
Yeah.
right? Because although we're sisters, we're, like, still in competition with each other. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
We're like stepsisters
Yeah, we're like the evil
in one of those
stepsisters in
Disney characters.
Cinderella.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And, like, as Pravana, we have to, like, sweep and clean and
100%.
d pick
Yeah.
up the
We're not gonna name names as
garbage.
to who the other sisters are, but
Yeah, but they're
we
there.
know, we know.
Yeah, the really pretty ones. They're so pretty.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting news. Tash, I'm pretty sure you have a letter for us this week, right?
I got a letter for this week, which is kind of fun because we decided to build our episode today around this letter. So I'm going to read this letter and then we're just going to discuss. So,
Sick. Can't wait.
this listener story, they named their letter The Moment I Knew. Okay, so my moment was about 6 months into being behind the chair. I had this new client come in, super sweet, says, in brackets, just wanted a refresh. Cool, easy. I love that for me. I start the consultation and I'm asking all the usual questions, and something just feels off. Her ends are dark, like suspiciously dark. I ask if there's any color history, and she goes, "Nope, I haven't done anything in years." And I knew, like in my soul, that was a lie. But I was still in my people pleasing era. So I was like, okay, well, maybe
Mm,
it'll lift.
mm.
It did not lift. We're talking banding, patchiness, the whole situation. I'm internally panicking, but trying to stay calm on the outside. And then halfway through, she goes, "Oh, yeah, I did use a box dye during COVID,
Of
but it washed
course.
out." Of course.
Oh
That's
my
such
god.
everybody thinks the box dye just washes right out, don't they?
Yeah, just
That
because you don't see it
was
doesn't mean it's not there.
exactly, and that was the moment. The moment I realized clients will accidentally or fully lie to you, and you still have to fix it professionally. I ended up turning it into a soft blend and rebooking her for a correction, but I remember going home that night like, "Oh, this job is not just doing hair. It's problem solving, it's detective work, it's emotional control all at once." And that's when I knew I was either going to sink or figure it out and actually become good at this. And now I interrogate, sorry, consult way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
but
that
also
is
shout out to you for fixing that color correction, and you've only been doing hair for 6 months. That's not an easy thing to do.
no,
To get
that's not an easy thing to
soft
do at all.
blends?
Yeah, for real. And you know what? This letter is so relatable, I feel like, to every single hairstylist out there because everybody has had sort of, as a stylist, the moment they knew, right? The moment they knew this client wasn't telling the truth, the moment they knew this color was going to be amazing, the moment they knew dot, dot,
Oh,
dot, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just as a blanket statement now, especially with new clients, I assume everybody's lying to me.
Yeah. Well, I think that, a lot of clients just like we said, reading that letter, don't even realize how just because it looks like it's washed out, it's still there in your hair, babe. Like it's still gonna leave a mark. We're still not gonna be able to lift it like we would your virgin hair, right? So
Mhm.
yeah.
I also
The
wonder if maybe there's some marketing that's playing in here where they think they're getting a rinse, a color
yeah,
rinse, and not realizing that that's probably a permanent color. I've had it happen a few times where people are like, "Oh, I just did a rinse." And then I
yeah.
start to lift, and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not rinsing
It's
out. Like, it's
still
not."
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still there.
100%. I think that that's part of the marketing. Like, you go to Shoppers Drug Mart, and they have to have a high enough developer for it to work universally or globally, right, on anybody's
100%.
hair. So although it
Yeah.
says it's gonna just rinse out, maybe it will on somebody's hair, but maybe it's not on the next person's hair because everybody's situation is so different. And when you're just throwing like a universal developer at everybody, of course it's gonna
I
do different things.
probably like at least a 20 volume, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
Which is definitely
For
not
a
a
rinse.
not a demi, not a semi, it's not a rinse. Yeah.
Oh my god, the amount of times this is, like, related but unrelated, but the amount of times that people have toned their hair with one of those L'Oreal toners, the Dialite that takes 20 volume.
Oh,
Oh my god, I'm so sick of this,
yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, it made my hair warm," and it's like, "Yeah, you also got a base bump." So
Exactly, and then we're having to go in and fix it, right?
oh, there's no fixing
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna low light it, and it's gonna come back,
Yeah,
and
exactly, you're going
that's it.
darker.
You're going
Yeah.
darker, or you're living with it.
Yep.
So, good luck to you and yours.
Yeah, exactly, and this relates back to the last episode where I where I said, "Sometimes I love when you do your hair at home, and
Oh,
I love
yeah.
fixing these color corrections, and sometimes I don't love it, depending on the day." Yes,
I
Benny.
sent you one last night, I don't know if you saw it, it was pretty funny, it was a girl with, like, really nice ginger hair, and she put her hair into 2 ponytails, and she cut it, and then she literally it was like a 6-minute long video, and I don't know why I watched the whole thing, it was so late. She kept putting it back into more ponytails and cutting it because it just wasn't blending, so she would just put
Oh,
it in another ponytail and cut,
no.
put it in another ponytail and it cut. And then she would, like, hold her mirror and look at the back, and of course, it was, like, super choppy, so then she would just put it back in a ponytail and
Oh,
cut.
n
The whole time, I thought she was gonna chop off one of her fucking fingers. She just was trying to point cut and, like, whole scissor was going, like, into her hand. I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna end in blood," and I was getting hardcore
Did she have a
anxiety. She
pixie
didn't cut
cut by
herself.
the end? Like, how short is
No,
her hair
it
by the
was
end?
like
I did not see this
I would say
video.
mid-back. It was mid-back, and it probably ended, like, just below collarbone.
Sheesh. That's really
She
stressful.
did want it
I'm
short,
glad that I
though.
didn't okay. I'm glad I didn't
She
watch
did
this
want it
video
short.
just yet that you sent me. I feel like this would
Oh,
be
you're
send me
gonna.
into a yeah.
You're
Yeah, I'm
gonna.
gonna.
You're gonna. I'm gonna keep sending it until you watch it because it was a good watch.
God.
How
Um,
about you, Tash? Did you have any appointments that like, when have you had a moment like that where you were doing a client and you knew it just wasn't gonna work?
oh my goodness. Honestly, all the time, I feel like exactly what we're saying. People that say they just do a slight rinse or, like, somebody that says they bought a semi-permanent to put over their Vivids that I'm hoping see, like,
Oh, yeah.
the way that I like to do Vivids is, like, I plan it so that it fades out really nice and pastelly so that when you come in the next time, I kinda have a fresh canvas to work with. But for some people, they'll end up putting sort of like another semi on in the meantime to kinda keep it, you know, a more vividy color, which is
Yeah.
cool and all, but then the next time you come in, it sets me back so much further because I don't have a blank canvas to work
Mm,
anymore with, right?
that's
And
so
so,
true.
yeah, it's kind of frustrating because I'll go in with kinda like an idea in my head of what I wanna do, thinking that most likely your color has rinsed out to how I've sort of planned it, and then you come back in and your hair's still quite vibrant from whatever semi you put on it from
Yeah.
the last time. So that's kind of a hard one
So
and
what will
sorta
you
like one
do?
of
Will you
those
just
y
basically refresh that color that's there? Because just you're not
you
changing it.
I know, well, you pivot. You either, do like a slight little
Pivot,
bleach bath if
pivot.
you have to, if you wanna pull it out a little bit, or yeah, or you stick with the color that's there and just sort of work with it, which is frustrating, but you can't do a little bleach bath every single time, right? Because that hair
No,
is
you
just not gonna
cannot.
feel great in the end, so, like, sometimes
Or
that's your
what
only
hair?
hope. Yeah, or what
Or what hair?
exactly.
Yeah,
What about you,
yeah,
Benny? Do
a
you have any
silent
stories
prayer.
like that? Things you
I
can
feel like
relate to?
it's the same situation will happen all the time where there's like a mid band or a color on the mids and ends that just isn't going anywhere. Um, Actually, I do have one that happened somewhat recently, and bless her, it is. it's my brother's, girlfriend, and she's very close to the family, so, of course, I felt very comfortable. She had henna in her hair, of all
Oh,
things.
no. Yeah.
Of all things, she
Why
had
does she have
henna,
henna in her
and
hair when her brother-in-law is a hairstylist?
well, this was from a long time ago, so her hair is maybe, like, mid-back, so you can imagine this is,
It's
like, 6,
long.
7 years
Yeah.
of hair, right?
Okay, that's
So,
fair. Yep.
at some point, she was copper and used henna for it, which,
Yep.
if you plan on never not being copper, go for it. Like, that's actually
Yeah.
a great option. It's natural, you're never fucking changing your mind. So,
Yep.
she wanted to, of course, be what color? Blonde. So, here I am
Mm.
lifting, and the first time we did, like, a nice copper color because she was like, "I'm not gonna be able to lift this out," and I said, "No, we're definitely not." But I think around the second time, we thought, "Let's try," let's try and lift it out. And so, of course, I'm using all my bond builders or whatever, and I put the lightener on, and I'm looking at the mids and ends, obviously a clean level 9.5, 10. And then I'm seeing those ends stuck at a 7, like, not even an 8 or a 9, like a
Oh.
7, The jump back at that point is gonna be so rough, and the
Yep.
tones are gonna be so different because now in order for me to get a decent level 7 on the roots to match the ends, I'm gonna have to use a fucking filler, which defeats the
Yeah.
purpose of lifting out all that color, right? So,
Oh,
I thought to
cut
myself,
it
"We have
off.
2
Just cut it
options."
off. We
But it
cut your
was like
hair.
we through her hair, right? So I told her, I said, "We have 2 options. We're either going to try lifting this ends out again, or I'm gonna have to continue going copper, or I'm gonna have to let the ends be a different tone." And
Yep.
so we decided to try and lift again. And I knew it was a risk. Like, I
Yep.
knew that it was gonna be because I'd done some highlights already before, and what made me realize that it was possible was some of the last set of highlights that I did lift very cleanly. Like, there was a couple of
Okay.
spots in there where I thought, "Okay," so but, like, I would say 80 to 90% of it was, in fact, this level 7, but there was,
Yeah.
like, 10% that was a match. It was a 9.5, a
Hmm.
9, And so I thought, let's try. Let's try. I'll lift your ends again. I didn't rinse out the foils. I just kind of wiped off and I reapplied on the mids and ends in those foils. I did just a 10 volume at this point, and I watched it and I watched it and it didn't get past an 8. After putting it on for another, like,
Mm.
30, 40 minutes, like, it still didn't get past an 8, and I remembered being
Wow.
so gutted because I was thinking, for sure, it was gonna at least get to an 8.5, 9, then I wouldn't have to use a filler, I can do, like, a decent medium warm toner on the mids and ends, and it would've looked great, or on the
Yep.
roots, and then do, like, neutral on the mids and ends, but that didn't happen, so I ended up just toning it all down to a level 8, which was so heartbreaking for all of us, and then
Yeah.
all the fucking ends broke off anyways, so, like,
No.
she sent me a text a couple days and I was like I went home, and when you're on your way home and you're like, "Oh, I went too far." Like, I was just waiting for a text,
Yeah.
and if it was somebody who wasn't a family member, I would have been like, "No, I'm sorry, this is it," but I was like I felt bad, we agreed to try it, and, like, in my heart, I knew I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I went ahead
Yeah.
anyways, I put more bond builder on, and I just prayed to the gods. It still didn't even fucking work, and I remember literally for, like, 2 or 3 days being, like, just dreading it getting a text, just being like, "Oh god, at
Yeah,
any
you know
moment,
it's coming. Yeah, you
it's
start getting, like,
coming." Like,
anxiety about it. Yeah.
just brushing her hair through, I just knew it wasn't gonna last, and I felt so bad, and of course, it was right around Christmas time, and so she's like, "Hey, do you think I can get a haircut when I come?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
let's
So you ended up cutting it all off?
yeah,
How
yeah,"
short did you
which
have
means
to go?
we cut off, like, maybe 4 inches.
Right,
So,
which means
it
you
was
could have
still
taken it to
super
that
long,
blonde.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
we
then
could
I
have just
guess
left it blonde.
eventually did that toner and everything kinda rinse out and then you got her to the blonde or no? Is she still dating your brother?
She is st Imagine. Yeah, they've been together for years and years now, so, like,
Oh, okay.
they're moving in, they're buying a house together, and
Oh,
her hair
okay.
I haven't done her hair since. This was just Christmas, and she only comes a couple times a year, so I actually
Yeah.
don't know what it is like right now. When I saw it
Oh.
last, it looked really nice, Oh, actually, this is why, because we were doing it as a solid color. So it was like it wasn't that it was just a highlight, it was solid lift from roots to tips as a level 9.5, 10, and then solid mids, ends were like so I
Oh,
had to
yeah,
fucking figure something out. So we went to a highlighted, low lighted effect where it was more of a balayage, and then it
okay.
wasn't so crazy, you know what I mean? So it wasn't
It's
so
a little more
solid at that point.
blendy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so the point was to allow her to grow it out for longer, so I will probably be doing her hair sometime in March, and
yeah,
if you're listening to this, so sorry. I knew when I was doing it that I probably shouldn't, but we did it, and here we are, and hair grows back, and you know what's nice is she was like, "Listen, if it fucking fries off, it fries off, hair grows back."
yeah.
And so I was like,
I'd
"'Kay,
like a
cool."
letter I'd like a letter from your experience, D. Send us a letter from your side of the
Yeah.
story. Let's hear it.
Oh,
Um,
I felt so bad. I was like, "Yeah, of course you can come over and get a haircut on Christmas. You're already gonna be here, let's just
ugh,
chop it off
yeah.
before I start
Merry
drinking my prosecco.
Christmas. You didn't
Merry
wanna cut
Christmas,
your
short
hair
hair
short, but Merry
now."
Christmas, you get a short haircut.
And you know
Yay.
what? Bless my brother, he walks downstairs and he was like, "Oh, did you cut your hair already?" She's like, "Yeah." This is we cut off like 4.5 inches. He's like, "Oh, I couldn't even tell."
Yeah, he's like, "Looks longer.
Ah!
Looks even
He's like, "It
longer."
looks exactly the same, if not longer." And I was like, "You know what? We did something right when we raised you. You
Yeah,
know how to
exactly.
deal
You,
with
like
women.
you give him a
You've
wink.
done this
You're like,
before."
"Yeah."
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, totally.
"Oh,
Oh,
great.
that's funny.
Oh,
Okay, I
so
have
good."
another good moment I knew, but I'm gonna flip it a little bit to not necessarily the
Okay.
moment I knew about somebody's hair, but the moment I knew that burnout was real in this industry. Do you
Oh,
have any of
yeah.
those, Benny?
Oh, I definitely have one in particular, but I'll tell you afterwards.
'Kay. Okay, so for me, like, it had been building for years and years back when before I had kids and I would work, like,
Mhm,
10-hour long days and not eat and
mhm.
just, like, be on your feet for that long. But for me, I really came to that realization after I had my first child, and then having to go back to
Oh,
work
yeah.
once I did, and realizing how much your clients needed from you and messaged you, and now at the same time, I'm also balancing having a newborn, and it was a difficult pregnancy, it was a difficult labor and delivery. He was, you know, not the easiest baby, and then on top of it, my clients wanting me back, and then me trying to go back to
How
work.
often were you going back? Like, how many days were you going back?
Ooh. I think with Felix, I think I went back when he was, like, maybe 4 months old, somewhere in there, and I think I was maybe working, like, 3 days a week, not full days, though. I was
Yeah.
nursing, and so I had to bring, like, my breast pump into the back room of the salon and, like, in
Yeah.
between clients, like, "Doot, doot, doot, doot." Yeah, like, it's awful, and just being like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. I'm so tired. My body is so sore. My clients need me. I need the money. I also have to pay my chair rent. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
so much burnout. So much burnout.
Honestly,
It
it's
really,
not
yeah,
talked about enough in the hair industry. The fact that we don't have a lot of the, beautiful perks of having, paid time off and
yeah,
sick leave. And yeah, you can, of course, get your EI from the government if you're going to do your mat leave, but that's
yeah.
nothing. You know what I mean? And especially
No,
if you're a business owner, you need to be getting back there as soon as possible.
yeah.
So,
Like,
yeah, I can understand that was rough.
my EI didn't even cover what my chair rent was, right? So, like, it's like I'm paying
Whoa.
anything that I get from EI, because I wanted to hold my chair, went directly to my chair rent, which meant I was in the
Wow.
negative every single month and, like, just
Before you
entirely
even
relying
started, you were in
on.
the negative.
Before I even started, I was in the negative, and
Yeah.
so I wanted to take more time off with Felix, but I, like, actually couldn't because we weren't like, Andy wasn't at the point in his career yet where he was super duper stable, and so we were, like, hurting, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, "Well, I guess I'm just gonna go back to work because, like, this is the only option, so I'm just gonna, like, force myself back into it when I wasn't, like, emotionally ready, I wasn't physically ready, I wasn't."
Mhm.
ready, but I had
Was
to,
there a
right?
specific moment that stood out to you as, like, I'm doing too much, or was it gradual breaking?
Think it was I honestly think I knew before I was even going back, you know what I mean? Like, I was crying because I wasn't ready, but, like, I had to. So I feel like I knew it, but I was just kinda, like, taking one for the team. I will say, like, it was nice because our jobs are so social, and when you're used to that, and then you have a baby and you're at home, like, I really did miss it so much. I missed
Mhm.
my clients, I missed being back in the salon with all my friends, I missed the socializing. So that part of it was good for me, and it was good for my mental health to, like, be back around my friends and being creative and whatever, but my body wasn't ready yet to like, it wasn't
Yeah.
completely healed, and it wasn't ready to leave my son yet, you know what I mean?
Mhm. That's really
So
early.
yeah, it was really early. I feel like that was the kinda moment the gradual build up to the moment where I realized, like, how hard it is to be a working mom, you know?
So did you scale back at the salon, or did you just, like, suck it up?
I scaled back at the salon, like, I think I for a long time just did a few days a week and,
Yeah.
like, short hours, and then just slowly kept building those hours back up. When it came to my daughter, so, like, 4.5 years later, we had our daughter,
Mm.
and that was crazy because at the same time as having like, I had my daughter, and then my sister and I opened up a salon. So, while we're opening up a salon and painting the walls and trying to do all the financing and, like, figure out all this salon stuff, I also had a newborn baby and also a
Wow.
son on top of that. So I have a
Yeah.
4.5-year-old kid, a newborn baby, and trying to open a brand new business, and it was COVID. So, like, looking back, like, that was crazy. That
Yeah.
was, like that was a really, really crazy time, and
You did it. Here you are.
but we did it. I mean, luckily, I have a very supportive partner who I wouldn't, be able to do any of this without him.
Yeah,
But and
true.
then my sister too, like owning the business with her. But holy
Yeah.
man, how about you, Benny? What about your burnout stories?
Oh, man, I only really have one, in particular, and it was so I went from having I stopped doing hair for, like, a year or 2. I moved down to the States, and then when I came back to Canada, I thought, "Oh my god, why am I, not doing hair still?" So I was just doing clients in my house whenever, you know? And
Yeah.
so then at some point, you start to realize the industry tells you the only way to be successful is to have a big salon with tons of staff on a busy street. So a spot came open on Queen Street, which is where I live, and well, at the time I lived there, and it was a big, beautiful salon, or it was a space that I turned into a salon, and my overhead at that time was about 13K a month. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of money, and keep in mind that was just me. Like I didn't have any staff at that point, so I opened the salon, and I hired makeup artists and taught them how to do blow dries, but I was the only one doing hair services, so I was carrying
Hair.
that place, to be honest with you. I didn't wanna just hire everybody, and I know how crazy that can really make an environment, so I was very particular on who I brought in, probably too particular because I didn't bring anyone in fast enough, and it got to the point where I'd been running
Yeah.
that business for so long, and I remembered, like, I was eating ramen noodles because I was probably making, like, 15K a month and 13 was going back into the business. So
Yeah, like
I was
how
living off of, like, barely bones. Like, I was working 7 days a week. I was doing 12, 15 hours a day because the salon was 2 doors over from my house. So I basically
Mm,
lived in the salon, and I had a puppy too, so that didn't make a difference. I just lived at work.
yeah.
And I told myself that was what it takes to run a new business. That's you gotta work, you gotta grind, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
after about 8 months of this, I remembered one weekend I was eating like a pack of Mr. Noodles, and this is when social media was like just starting, and I was looking on my phone, and one of my staff members was out at, like, a beautiful dinner, and a part of me was very proud because I was like, "Wow, good for her. She really deserves to have this beautiful dinner. She works really hard." But and I was like, "And I pay her, so, like, she should be able to have this." But then I was like, "Why am I not able to enjoy this?" Like, I'm
Yeah.
making all the money for this business, sacrificing everything, and I'm eating ramen noodles, watching my assistant eat a beautiful steak dinner at a very nice restaurant. It doesn't even matter if she was paying or not. It was just the thought of that was enough for
Yeah.
me to, like, something had clicked. And so I remembered I went to work that day, and I had, of course, fully booked stack day, whatever. And then at the very end of the day, client came who happens to be one of my best friends that I've known since well before everything. And she walked in, and I'll never forget this moment. I looked at her, she looked at me, and I just burst into tears. Like, I literally just, like,
Oh,
sat at the edge of my station, and I just completely broke down. Like, all of the weight of
yeah.
everything just even now makes me, like, teary just to even think about it because just, like, the
Emotional. Yeah.
workload was so intense, and it was never ending. It was just like every month you had to come up with it or you lose it all, right? And then you sacrificed everything for nothing. So you give up even more to make that initial sacrifice work.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. So she looked at me and she was like, fuck these roots. Let's get a drink. And so we went to my favorite bar on the corner. We didn't say anything for about half an hour. And then I just, like, of course, spilled everything. And I'll never forget it. I ended up closing that salon within a month and a half to 2 months after that for
Wow.
a whole separate reason. So the owner at the time didn't think or he thought that I was just independently wealthy. He thought, like, I didn't know
Yeah.
where he thought this money was coming from. I think he assumed it was parents or something like that. And there was a
Yeah.
bunch of renovations that needed to be done for me to get a liquor license, to get a bar. And so my timeline kept getting pushed back for those renovations because, of course, I was just keeping the business afloat. And so I was like, whatever, as long as I have the space, I can always add that later. He didn't really see it that way. So he was getting really annoyed that I wasn't doing the renovations that obviously he wanted to be done to his unit without paying for it.
Yeah,
So
what?
he would right? But whatever, that is technically how these leases work, it is my responsibility. So,
Yeah.
especially if I want to do these things. And so there was an issue with a leak, and I remembered at one point the leak was dripping right in front of a $30,000 makeup bar and all of the makeup and
Oh,
all of the retail for it, and it was, like, literally inches from this bar, and I couldn't move it somewhere else.
oh my
And so he was
gosh.
like, "Oh, just put a plastic bag over it." I was like, "Excuse me?"
What?
Put
No.
a garbage bag over my makeup bar and, like, what, have the stylist lift a fucking garbage bag to grab eyeshadow? Are you are you kidding me? Like, he wouldn't
Oh
fix it.
my
And so then it took
god.
him, like, 3 weeks to start fixing this, and in order for him to fix it, he told himself he had to put these scaffolding up in front of the salon and literally barred the entry from my salon. So clients would
Oh,
walk by
no.
and think that the salon was closed because there was all this scaffolding up, and he's like, "Oh, it has to stay there," and thank God I had a friend next door that was also in construction, and he came by and he's like, "None of the scaffolding needs to be here for what he's doing. People that can walk they should be able to walk into your salon." So I just got to this whole situation. There was a hole in the floor, like, you could see in the basement, and he was like, "Oh, no, you have to fix that," and I was like, "Well, no, the only reason why the floor is there is because of the leak, which you didn't fix in time. I'm not responsible for
Oh
fixing
my
this
god. Yeah.
floor, which is another $20,000 to fix this floor," right? Like, he
Yeah.
just so all of that just kinda took its toll on me. I remembered that moment where I just saw her face and I just burst into tears, and
Yeah.
I I got a therapist after that, and I really learned that if you don't pour back into your own cup, there is nothing to go and give to everybody else. Like, what you're giving to other
Mhm.
people should be the overflow from your cup, not a hole in your
Yes.
cup, and
Totally.
definitely not many holes in your cup that you keep putting to just keep spilling as a and you need to fill your cup. So I closed that salon, I opened up a much smaller space, and I started putting all that energy and money back into myself. I was like, "Listen, I'm making a lot of money. I should be able to be having nice things, going on vacations, seeing my friends."
Yeah.
So I started to do those things, and now I feel like I have the perfect blend of, like, responsibility and workload. Like, I'm just perfectly happy,
Good.
but I had to get to that point of hitting rock bottom to realize I'm never doing this again, and I think
Yeah.
at that point I was maybe 15 years, 16 years into doing hair, so it's not like and I worked a lot. Like, I in order for me to get that type of clientele to keep that income, and this was not when I had these prices. I was doing, like, full fucking set
Yeah,
of
you were
highlights in a
hustling.
cut for, like,
Yeah,
$150, you know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
wasn't just, like
yeah,
just the Wild Wild
yeah,
West back then, so yeah, I'll
yep,
never fucking do that again, and whenever anybody ever is, like, complaining about my prices, I just think of the Benny that was sitting on the floor crying, and I'm like, "No, no,
yeah.
he deserves to get paid this amount because I
E
am never gonna sit on
Eating
the fucking
ramen
floor crying
noodles.
again."
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, like,
yeah,
can't even feed yourself. Yeah.
yeah,
People think
and,
that,
like, paying all the money for my
people
dog
really
and, like, eating ramen noodles.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people do think that our jobs are very glamorous because on the outsides they are, but they aren't necessarily on the insides. They are a
Mhm,
lot of work to get to where we are. Do you know what
mhm.
I mean? A
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
hustling. Um,
and not even just the actual act of doing hair and knowing how to
yeah,
use color. It's the personal aspect of it too. Like talking to people all day long
yes.
is fine for, like and now I only work 2 days a week, and I think that is the perfect amount for me to still have a social battery for anything outside of hair. But when you're
Yep.
working 5 days a week behind the chair and
Mhm.
you are talking to people all day long and you're always on, like, that meme of the hairstylist that's, like, in the back room fully bawling her eyes out, and then her timer goes off, she's like, "Oh, Mary's highlights are done," and she, like, whips
Yeah,
it back into shape and she walks out, like, that
that's
is
legit.
really
Yeah.
hard, and that is real. And that is sometimes fucking daily.
Yes,
Like
yes, it's so real, like, that's not even a funny
yeah,
joke, that is legit how it is.
that's legit how
You
it
are
is.
yeah, you have to be on every single day. I really do struggle, like, you're better at this than I am, Benny, but, like, when we go on work trips, I really struggle with being on the whole time, like, I always have to run away and hide in my room
Mm.
and, like, have, like, alone time. You're so much better at socializing with people and, like, chatting with people. I can't do that even when it's on a work trip. I always have to disappear and, like, recharge on my own. It's so hard for me.
It's not
It's it
easy,
get
and I just think I find different ways to recharge, but yeah, it is really difficult, and I think that's probably why hairstylists can just get so burned out, you know? It's not even just the physical, a lot of it is the personal, like, I drive home in complete fucking silence sometimes,
yeah,
most times, you
yeah.
know? I just can't
Mhm.
imagine working 5 days a week and then a full social life and a family? Like,
I
yeah, you gotta
know.
go home and, like, talk to kids all day long? Ugh,
Well, that's the thing is like, so, you wake up in the morning, you get your kids fed, you get them to school, then you get yourself ready, then you go to the salon, then you do all of your clients' hair, you're taking care of everybody all day. Then you go home, then you're still not off because then you have to
yeah.
like, feed your kids supper, take them to their activities, get them read their stories, any homework, blah, 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 get them back to bed, and then you do the next thing in the morning. So by the time, like,
Well,
I
and you
have
also have a
the
partner. You have a whole other relationship
and
with a
that
partner you still
too,
have to foster and
you have
grow
to,
and,
like
like, put energy in.
yeah, exactly, chat with your partner. So, like,
Yeah.
by the end of it all, like, holy man, yeah. I go between, so right now I'm working 4 days a week, but they're shorter days, and I'm really liking that. For a while there, a couple years ago, I was doing 3 days a week, and then I was like, "Okay, I feel like I can add another day and just kinda, like, not have super long hours," and so that's what I'm doing now, and I feel like it's a good amount because I've worked the hours mostly around my kids' school, so, like
Yeah.
because one thing I really found, especially when I did used to work Saturdays, was I started missing out on so much with my
Oh,
kids. Like,
everything.
it was like I
Oh,
was
yeah.
prioritizing my clientele over my own kids, and I was like, this isn't the way that I want it to be anymore, right? But I remember when I told this one client that I was pregnant with my first son, her reaction to me was, "Well, what am I gonna do?"
Oh,
That's what she said to me. "Well, what am I gonna do?" And I was like, "Wow, this is another moment where I realized
yeah.
how much you give to your clients and how much you don't give to yourself," right? She wasn't even
Yeah.
she didn't even say congratulations. She said, "Well, what am I gonna do?" Like,
And
it
you know
was a
what? There's a
problem
fine
for
line because
her.
you have to realize that, like, this is a business, and at the end of the day, yes, you build relationships with these people, but
Yeah,
that it still doesn't negate the fact that they're paying you for a service. So, she
yeah,
doesn't have to have any emotional response to you, but you want her to because you are having a relationship with this person, you talk to this person, and, like, you would
yeah.
want them to be happy for you, you know? But
Well,
y
because we had, like this was a client that I had a really close relationship to. She's now passed on. She had, she was, like, quite old even at that time. Um,
mm,
but yeah, we were really close. She was kind of like an adopted grandma almost to me, and, like, to the point
wow.
where, like, like, I had been to her house, like, we were like,
Mhm.
we were like buddies. And so I was, like, so excited to tell her that I was pregnant because this was like,
Aw.
and then that was her response, and I was like, "Wow, this really isn't as much of a like, emotional close relationship as I thought it was, because you're not even
Yeah.
telling me congratulations, you're worried about yourself." Like,
Now, does that
yeah.
help you realize that going forward with your other clients, or do you have a more of a barrier where you realize, "Okay, this is work. I don't need to be so emotionally invested in this."
I feel like I've learned over the years, yeah, after becoming a mom, how to separate that a little bit more, but it's hard. Like, it's hard as a stylist because you
Mhm.
do, build those relationships with your clients, right? Like, even for you without having kids, you have those same types of like, do you know what I mean?
Well, especially when you get to a certain point when you're basically all return clients.
Exactly, like, everybody's just kinda becomes your friend, and, like,
Yeah.
you've curated like, for me, I've kinda curated my clientele to be what I want it to be. I don't
Mhm.
really take on many new clients at all, ever, for that reason, because I just, like, love my clientele and I love to see them, but I guess that's where that line kinda blurs, right? And
Yep.
then when that client just says, "What am I gonna do when you tell them they're pregnant?" That hurt. That hurt.
Well, this actually leads me to, my next question I was gonna ask you is, did you have any moments where you knew either the client wasn't coming back or you weren't gonna continue taking that client?
Oh, yes. I mean,
Yeah?
I've fired clients over the years for sure. I
Oh,
also
yeah, we've
have
talked about that.
yeah, and then, I feel like sometimes when a client isn't gonna come back, you're just not vibing with somebody, right? Like, just in
Yeah.
general, I've just had that feeling with somebody in my chair being like, "Okay, I can already tell, like, I'm not gonna see you again. We're just not the right match," right? Like, do you ever get that, or have you ever had that before? I'm sure you have.
I have, and it actually happened recently. I had a client come in who was a referral from a good friend of mine, and she came in and like it was just highlights. It went very well. It was the last appointment of the day, so of course people were tired. And towards the end, I just remembered thinking, "Okay, cool." Like like you can just tell. She's like, "Okay, this is good, thanks." And I was like,
Right.
"Cool." We just worked 4 hours
Okay.
on this, and it's just good. Okay, 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 fine, cool. And
Mhm.
so like the
Yep.
reaction was very lackluster, and I remember thinking, "Oh, that's fine." Like she probably it maybe I'm not the right stylist for her. Maybe it's not exactly what she was looking for. I'm okay with that, you know? And
Yep.
then the friend that referred me sent me a text like 4 days later. She's like, "Hey, my friend just wants to let you know that even though she might have been very lackluster, she's definitely coming back. She just is really
Oh.
awkward and didn't know how to be,
Oh.
like, excited." I was like, "Oh, okay." And
Oh.
then the next time she came back, it was like a whole different person. She was, like, funny, asking questions. We were, like, vibing, and I was like, "Oh, you were just socially weird the first time."
Interesting. She
Yeah,
was
but I swear the
nervous,
whole time I was like, "Oh,
maybe.
I'm never gonna see her again. This is for sure."
Yeah.
And now she's like repeat customer, she knows all my deepest, darkest secrets, and likewise, and, she's hilarious, but
Funny. Yeah,
I laughed
that's
when
very
she told me
funny.
when that friend was like, "Yeah, she does like
I
you, and
mean,
she will be coming back, and she loves her hair."
nice that that friend let you know, I guess, so that you could, like, move
Yeah.
on and stop worrying about that if you were.
Well, I just chalked it up to like, "Oh, I guess that's it, you know? I'll just keep it going," you know? And
Yep.
then, nope, she actually was vibing, so that was really fun. That was really good. I
Hmm,
like that one.
nice.
Do you have any of those moments where you know this person will literally be sitting in your chair until either you or they die?
Oh my god, every
Like
day. Every day of my life,
like,
I feel like
that's
that
it.
behind the
That is
chair.
it.
That is it. That
Yeah.
is Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, 100%.
I have this one, reel that I had made of this one client that I was doing, Vivids on, and I'm so happy that we captured the moment that we took the towel off of her head. She let me do like, she's one of those clients that
Oh,
lets me do anything, and so I gave her,
yeah.
like, this full rainbow hair without her knowing, and then, like,
Sick.
prismatic kind of rainbow,
Yep.
and then we filmed it, and when we, like, took the towel off, her reaction was so, like, genuine and excited and, like,
Mhm.
being like, "Oh my god, Tash. Oh my god, Tash." Like, it was so yeah,
Wow.
it was so good, and yeah, she's such a fun client, and I love that feeling. Yes.
I love that feeling. It's almost
Yeah.
like it gets you off. You're like, "Yeah, yeah."
Yeah.
I want
Yeah,
everyone to
and you
feel
just,
that
like
feeling.
yeah, and you just, like, high five about it, like,
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I also just had that happen recently, like, it's happened a few like, I'm sure a bunch, but just recently I did, one of the educators from Sexy Hair, and
Yeah.
I love when clients say something like, "Oh, no one's been able to get me, like, past a certain point." But in
Oh, yeah.
particular, a hairstylist, like, she specifically said, "Everybody has a hard time lifting me past a level 8, so I usually just tone to a level 8, but I've always wanted to let it get to a 10." And I was like, "Babe, sit the fuck down. You're about to get to a level 10 right now." And we did. We did her highlights, we lifted her up to a clean level 10, and you know when, like, those you say a bunch of things, and the client will say a bunch of stuff, but when a hairstylist gives you a bunch of notes, they mean each
Yeah.
and every single one of them, but I wasn't
Yeah.
about to sit there and talk 20 years about what root shadow she wants. She mentioned she doesn't like when she sees blonde hair on her face, and I immediately was like, "Cool, I'm gonna root shadow the front." But it was like all those little things that I didn't repeat back to her, but she was like, "You know what? I trust you, just do whatever you want," and I banged out each and every one of the things that she said, you know?
Yeah, you're just taking
And
notes.
she
Yeah.
just taking notes, and when she saw it, like, we posted a video, but we cut it right before the end, which I wish we didn't, but she literally started crying. She's like, "I've never ever had it get to this point where I get it to
Aw.
exactly what I want," and I just stood back there and I was like, "This is why we do this. It's not just a set of highlights." And she's a
Yeah.
hairstylist. For a hairstylist to get to the point where they're so emotional about their hair being done the way they've always wanted it to be done is
Yeah.
such a huge feeling. It's that level of confidence that you can't really
Yes.
replicate any other way besides
Yeah.
just perfect hair.
Yeah. And I feel like for a lot of hairstylists, those moments are the moments that you know that you are meant to be doing what you're doing and being a stylist,
Oh,
right? And like
yeah. Oh,
changing
yeah.
those lives. Like for me, getting to do like the trans affirming or the gender affirming makeovers that we do and like you know, how many times I've cried for somebody that, like, is sitting in the chair finally, feeling on the outside how they do on the
Mhm,
inside, and nobody's ever given that to
mhm.
them before. Oh, it's such a good feeling. Like, I could do that every single day of my life, and I mean, I do quite often, but, like, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's so it's such a good feeling, and those are, like, those moments that you're like, "This is why I do what I do, and this is
Oh,
what we're
yeah.
here for," right? Yeah.
We're giving people something that they can live in, you know? I remember I actually just rewatched The Devil Wears Prada 'cause I'm gonna go watch the second one this week, and there was a moment
Ooh.
when I know, I'm so excited. There was a moment where, Stan, I think his name is, can't remember his name exactly, but he says, "Fashion is not just clothes, it's art that you get to wear." And your hair is the same thing. When you're able to
Totally.
express yourself and you can wear it every single day, it
Yeah.
just brings out a certain level of your personality, and nothing feels better than finding something for someone that is life-changing, you know? Find that trans-affirming haircut. I do, obviously color like you do, and there's some colors that now are such an ingrained part of a client's personality that they are recognized because of their hair, you know, and you gave
Totally.
that to them, and that is such a powerful feeling to not
Yeah.
only wield, but to have for that client where they know, "I have somebody that I can trust," and it's iconic. Like, I have clients that are like, "People know me because my hair is pink," or I have one client that's literally touring the world right now on
100%.
stage, and people know her because of her ice blonde to her fucking waist, silver white hair that is not
Yeah.
extensions, and people are like,
Yeah.
blown away. It feels
Yeah,
so
I
good.
agree. I love that too. I have this one guest that you reminded me of that like I kind of adopted her over the years because one like her stylist that worked in my salon had moved away and I always said to her, "You need to be ginger. Like you have the skin tone, you have
Yeah.
the personality, like you are a ginger." And she was just like a dirty blonde, right? Naturally.
Mhm.
And she was so scared. She couldn't do it. And then finally after like, a handful of times of me doing her hair and building up the trust, I was like, "We're taking you ginger." And we did, and, like, to this day, years later, she's still ginger. People just think that ginger's her natural color, and I
Natural
just had her
color,
in recently,
yeah.
and we were talking about that where she was like, this my hair is my actual personality, like, this ginger hair is, like, what makes me feel like who I am, and people think that
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
natural, right? And it's like, wow,
that's
that's
such a
so
good
cool,
feeling.
like, I love getting to
Yeah.
be a part of that. Yeah,
Well,
it's so
you
neat.
gave that to her, like, you saw it, you gave it to her. I have literally 4 people in my mind that I did something similar to where it was like, "You need to be red," or "You need to
Yeah,
be platinum blonde," or "Your blonde
yeah,
needs to be ginger," or "You need to be pink," or something, and it's been several years now, and they might not even come see me anymore. They might have moved on to a different city and they go somewhere else, but they still
yeah,
keep that same formula and that still
totally.
result, and it's like, boom, now you can just take this and go forth, you know?
Yeah,
Live your whole
yeah,
life. That client's gonna think of you for the rest of their life and be like,
yeah,
"Oh, Tash got me copper the first time." Like, when you're old and gray, no
yeah.
longer doing hair, and some young assistant's mixing up colors, she'll be telling that story.
For that client, that was the moment they knew, they learned a little bit more about
Yep,
themselves. I am a ginger at heart, right? Like, this is the moment that I
yep.
knew that this was me. Yeah.
Oh, I hope that that girl that I told needs to be ginger in LA. I hope she does it. I think about
I
that
know, I thought about that.
sometimes.
I thought about that too when I was saying it. I was like, "I wonder if she's ginger yet."
She
I
sent me
bet
a
she
screenshot of
is.
her using an AI thing, but the AI thing made her, like, carrot ginger. I was like, "No, babe,
Oh,
that's
like,
too much right now."
not a nice
Yeah,
ginger.
it looks good, but
Just
that's gonna she's like,
neon,
"I don't know, I'm scared." Of course you're gonna be scared.
because that's not the vision.
That's not the
Not
vision,
a
that's
not a
so
neon
copper.
yeah, yeah, no.
So, if she's listening, just fucking do it, babe. Listen to all these people
Yeah,
that have done it and have changed their life.
send us a screenshot. We need to see your hair.
Uh, what's your favorite hair color you've ever done on your
Mine?
head? Yeah.
Honestly, you know what? I love my dark hair. It's fun. I've had so much fun experimenting with all different colors over the years, and I really have been like every single color. But honestly, I do feel the most like myself when I just have literally the hair that I have now, which is just like my dark, natural. Although
Mm.
now I have to color my roots because I'm have so many white hairs, including my white patch that's coming in gorgeously in the front. Yeah, that's it. I do, when I
Mm.
think back, I loved when I was blue, and I know that you loved when I was peach. I know that that's what you want me to say.
That's your color for the rest of my life, like,
The
your afterlife color
sunstone.
will be peach for me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, I did really like
Yeah.
it. It was fun, and I look back at pictures, and it was cute. And I'm not saying I'm never gonna do it again. I might, but what about you? Oh, let me
Doesn't
guess.
seem like
Blonde.
it.
Level 10 blonde. Just you're so rude.
Oh my god. I told you about my hair crisis that I had, like, a couple months ago, right?
Well, what? That you have to do your roots every 10 days?
No, I did my obviously, I buzz and bleach, right? So I cut my hair and it wasn't bleached first, so I thought, "Oh, maybe I like me being dark." So
Oh,
I put a 5N on it. Don't know why, and,
really?
yeah, and it was too cool, so I was like, "Oh, no, it looks too dark and it's too cool." So then I
Yep.
bleached it and put like, a level 6, like, a warmer level 6 on there, and, that lasted maybe 45 minutes, and then I hated that, and then
And you bleached it out.
I I bleached it again. Actually, no, I left it that whole day, and then the next morning, I was like, "No, this isn't me." So then I bleached it, and that's when I tried the red, that, like, bright cherry red color,
Oh, for, like, one
and
day.
then I thought,
Yeah,
yeah, and I was like, "Oh, maybe this is my personality now." And then I left that on for one wash, and I saw how less vibrant it was after one wash, and I was like, "No, no, no,
yeah.
no, no, I'm not doing this." And then I bleached it back out to platinum, and I was like, "Ah." As soon as I saw the platinum, I was like, "This is my," like, I literally
This
had like
is
a
me.
like,
Yeah,
moment.
I
I was
can
like,
breathe
"Okay, I'm back."
again.
Like, I can
You're
breathe
so lucky that
again.
your hair is just buzzed and you can do that to it. Can you imagine, like, me trying to do that to my hair? It'd be all on the floor.
my scalp was raw. Because at that point,
I'm
it'd been
sure it was.
3.5 days, and I bleached my hair 4 times,
Oh
4 or
my
5 times.
god.
Bleached it,
Ugh.
red, bleached it,
Do you ever
and then I had to
do
bleach
you
it
ever
twice to get the
miss
red out.
do you ever miss your long hair? Do you ever miss your, like, long
Sometimes.
curls? Do you?
Sometimes I, like, see people with long curls, and they just pull it up, and I'm like, "Wow, that was nice." And then I
Yeah.
immediately have, like, someone punches me in the face of the memories of, like, getting up and doing your hair, washing it, putting product in, getting highlights,
Yeah.
getting a trim, and I was like, "You know what? No, I don't miss any of that." I miss the,
Yeah.
like, moment of having my hair done and the wind blows and it moves. Everything
Mhm.
before and after that, can't fucking stand.
Mhm. Yeah, I love your short hair. Like, your
I love
long
it.
hair was gorgeous, and I loved it too, and you got a lot of compliments on it all the time, but
Yeah.
I love the short on you. I feel like it suits you, and it's just so easy, right? Like, it's
It's
so
so easy.
yeah, like, you can just wake up and go with your
Well,
cute
it
short
just
little
suits
buzz
my life
cut.
because I
Yeah.
love going to hot yoga 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy going to the
exactly.
gym. I go to the sauna after every single workout. So I was either
Yeah.
gonna or I ride well, I don't ride as much, but I would either ride my horse in the morning, hair ruined, yoga, ruined, gym, ruined.
Ruined.
And it was like
Ruined.
I do all 3 of those things in one day usually. So it's like I
Yeah.
had to choose between keeping my hair, like, well maintained or living my life, and so now I'm like, "Fuck it, just if I have to wash my hair
Yeah.
3 times a day, I wash my hair 3 times a day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it
I need to
looks great.
tone it again." "Oh, thanks, I just
Yeah,
did it
but that's
yesterday."
easy. Yeah, exactly. You've got all those toners in your back pocket, so that's easy for you. That's
I have
fine.
a whole row of them in my closet, I tone every week.
Yes.
Tone, and then I bleach, I tone, and I bleach.
Every 10 days. Every
Yeah,
10
every 10
days with a
days.
couple tones in between.
So I'll probably have a bleach out again before our next episode. No, just kidding. Hopefully not.
Yeah, no, but you probably will actually, not kidding.
I probably will, yeah.
Well, to
Alri
end it on that note, I feel like I feel like that wraps up our episode perfectly. So,
I feel like that
let's
wraps
see
up
if
perfectly.
if Benny's got a new bleach and tone by next episode in less than a week.
You'll never see anything besides this exact color that I always have. You might see, like,
No.
a millimeter of roots, and that's basically gonna be it. And even then, I'm, like,
Mhm.
squirrely on the inside.
Yeah, but we're gonna know if you've bleached it again or not because 'cause I'm looking at your
100%.
non-roots right now, so I know what to look
Yeah.
for.
She's
Yep,
fresh. Yeah.
yep,
Alright,
exactly.
everybody, we hope you have a beautiful week. I hope you enjoy the fact that spring is finally sprung, and we can leave the house and
Yes.
walk around outside.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. As always, please send us your letters.
Yes, send us your letters, your love, and your comments, and we will be back next week. Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in. That wraps up today's episode of Locks of Lore. If this conversation hit close to home, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a stylist who needs to hear it.
You can find us on social media at Benny_and the Jets.
And at tashpotatoes_hair.
If you've got a story, question, or salon situation you want us to break down, send it our way, anonymously always, at locksoflorepodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time, know your worth,
Protect your energy.
and we'll see you behind the chair.